What's some dark going on around the world right now that public knows nothing about? The Paria diving incident. TLDR. 5 workers were vacuum sucked into an oil pipe that spanned 125 feet. One made it out to save the others, and the company refused to help them. For days later, they were flushed out dead. Some divers report hearing knocking from the pipe 3 days after the first survivor told the company. No justice has been served. My input. Corporate higher-ups got so disconnected that they didn't value the lives of these 5 men. I believe there's essentially a Holocaust going on in the Congo right now we hear nothing about. We barely hear about the escalating civil war in Ethiopia. My grandmother is in elder care. This elder care was funded by her selling her house. It's ridiculously expensive, and yet the workers are underpaid, so it's often the only way to pay for the nursing home, hospice care. My generation is full of renters, many of whom had to forego having children because children are expensive. What's going to happen when we get too old and sick to work? Microplastics are now being found in all food protein sources in significant numbers and found in human organs and human placentas. We have no real idea how they will affect us or the environment, and their presence will keep growing unchecked with no solution even proposed. Peatlands. My wife is a senior climate researcher who works on methane and peatlands projects. The astounding ability that peatlands have to carbon capture is insane. Most people don't realize it. The sketchy private entities are buying peatlands areas and destroying them on massive scales. Also, global South countries who have major peatlands are inclined to say, you to developed countries who are trying to convince them to not build, develop, mine, etc. on these lands. The global South countries are basically like, you, the world, and don't care about anyone. Why should we care now? It's not good. Medical advances the last 30 years, including statins, better blood pressure medicines, detailed medical imaging, artificial joints, colonoscopies, heart coronary surgery techniques, and other technologies will make our bodies outlast our minds for tens of millions of us. There could be an epidemic of dementia coming soon unless we can develop better brain health. Modern-day slavery rarely makes front-page news. Associated Press did a big thing on that some years ago. If you don't read Associated Press, then you probably did not see anything about that. But they did month after month after month of reporting on various modern-day slaveries. None of it made it to the headlines. 215 bodies have been found buried in a mass grave behind a Mississippi police station. Edit 672 bodies found, 215 identified. They didn't even bury them properly either. Body bogs in shallow graves. Investigators have stated the stench was very strong and vultures were circling overhead. Also, these were not homeless people. Many of them were prisoners or victims of crimes or accidents whose families were searching for them. Dexter Wade had been struck and killed by an SUV driven by an off-duty Jackson Police Department officer on Interstate 55, just hours after his mother last saw him. Food product cartels. Many countries have had cartel-like takeovers for food products. I know Netflix did a documentary series of each episode showcasing a different food product. But that was just a small number of serious cartel-like takeovers of small farms and larger cooperations. The problems include farmers' lives being at risk, and even consumers sometimes unknowingly purchasing counterfeit products at horribly high prices. Kids in the Congo have been mining cobalt in colonial conditions for the last few decades. This cobalt is used in everything that is supposedly eco-friendly and sustainable. Since the Joseph Fritzl case years ago horrifies me, that there's likely so many similar cases where they'll never be caught and the victim will never be free. Mark Zuckerberg is building a $270 million underground bunker in Hawaii. The wars in Ukraine and Palestine aren't the only wars happening. They're not even the deadliest conflicts. According to the Geneva Academy, there are current 110 armed conflicts worldwide. 5 of the current conflicts are classified as major wars, over 10,000 combat-related deaths. 17 are wars, 9,999-1,000 deaths. And an additional 18 are minor wars, 999-100 deaths. Even more surprising is that the most violent war isn't in Ukraine or Palestine, it's in Myanmar. People generally don't realize how much fighting is happening across the world. The education system in America is collapsing, and it's going to affect our place as a technology leader, which is going to affect our place as a world leader. I don't think we realize how much of our standing in the world is due to our investment in science. I'm talking incoming college students scoring zeros on math placement exams, top 10 public university. Meanwhile, China is spending a shitton on education and science and technology. Horrors are happening every day in Sudan, and on the refugee trail that leads out of Sudan to anywhere and everywhere else. When you hear some of the stories, it's not surprising people are willing to sacrifice anything to get as far away as possible. In many ways, the refugee crisis of Europe and other places is just a symptom of our apathy to the struggles of other nations. Once upon a time, people better understood that's generally a good idea for your neighbor to be stable, lest their problems spill over into your country. We now live in a global village, and the problems in countries you've never heard of can have momentous effects in your country, no matter how far removed you feel from it. In India between 2018 and 2021, 222 elephants were killed by electrocution across the country, 45 by trains, 29 by poachers and 11 by poisoning. Among human casualties, elephants killed 585 in 2019-20, 461 in 2020-21, and 533 in 2021-22. India is home to the world's largest population of Asian elephants, a species listed as endangered, with declining populations across its home range of 13 countries. India has over 100 national parks and around 30 elephant reserves, but many of India's 30,000 according to 2017 census. Project Elephant. Elephants live outside these protected areas and have less and less habitat to roam in search of food. Civil asset forfeiture. Really just legalized theft. This practice is legal in most states and allows law enforcement to confiscate property from people who have never been charged, let alone convicted of any crime. It's the single biggest legal outrage in 2020 for America. IMO. Chinese factory workers are encouraged to smoke meth so they can work harder. Chinese factories have safety nets around them because a lot of the workers were jumping to their deaths. Is devouring entire professions one bite at a time. I'm a former copywriter who lost his job twice to different companies in separate industries last year. It's cheaper, way faster, and good enough to convince companies they're better off without so many writers anymore. Uyghurs will soon be systematically erased as a culture, and they are really unlucky to have China as their culprit. Any other country doing something similar would be shamed to death right now, but everyone is afraid of China and losing their businesses there, so they just chill and pretend. You're not educated on the situation. Their kids will be raised as default Chinese, their adults are in re-education camps, their lands will be flooded with other Chinese, and their history will be gone and erased. Seems exaggerated? Go check if Tibet is still really Tibet right now. They carefully engineer their country to maintain good order and hegemony. Black Mirror is nothing compared to reality. The healthcare system in America is collapsing, and people don't care. They just want us to keep fixing them like nothing is wrong, and berate or use violence against us while doing it. Due to low childbirth in most of the developed world, number of pensioners goes up while number of economically active young people goes down, which means that social systems in many countries, Germany, Japan, much of Western Europe in general, will collapse like house of cards in this century. So if I make it to old age, I will most likely die of starvation and exposure in cardboard box under some bridge together with millions of others, since there will be no money for even basic pensions. We are blowing past targets for global warming and no one is taking it anywhere near as serious as they should. The oceans are already starting to face massive ecosystem collapse. Meanwhile, half the people in charge won't admit there's a problem and the other half thinks all we need to do is get people to go out and buy Teslas. The reality is that our children are so high levels of international student immigration in Canada, forcing people to live for 5-6+ people in a single room because colleges, universities rely on that income. Some get 90% of their inflated tuition from international students. Companies like Walmart, just one example, are also pushing for it because they pay international students minimum wage at best, which keeps wages across the board suppressed and their profits an all-time high. It's literally importing slave labor under the guise as education, immigration, legal slave labor, 500,000 people a year brought in during a housing crisis, and food bank use is skyrocketing. It's unsustainable and unethical, all for universities and massive companies to profit from. The super rich and powerful are the ones pulling the strings to make the world shitty for everyone else. That the human race is working actively to make itself extinct despite many warnings for ways to prevent it. All those Russian soldiers dying in Ukraine are conscripts from poor disenfranchised Eastern Russian regions in Siberia like Yakutsk. They're not ethnically Russian and their deaths don't directly affect life in Western Russia. That's why casualties are so high and Russians don't know or care much about it. These guys don't have anything to do with Russia or Ukraine, and they're just as much victims as the Ukrainians. Putin is committing a slow genocide against ethnic Siberian natives. About half the people you interact with on Reddit, Twitter, YouTube comments, Twitch comments, etc. aren't real people. Most of the articles you read on most news sites are using AI-generated content. When you talk to customer support via text chat, it is most likely now a generative AI agent, especially if its grammar is good. It's getting harder and harder to see and understand reality. It's like we're constructing some kind of weird nightmare in our society and we haven't even realized it. Grammar is bad here. Human checks out. Lots of cryptocurrency scams. China is taking over territory, Antarctica, and no one knows why or what they're doing there. That 60% of kids ages 13 to 24 would rather give up their right to vote than give up TikTok. The permafrost is melting. Quickly, fellas. It's been good to know ya. The public vastly ignores the likelihood of the full-on collapse of food chains due to climate change. If you thought prices were bad now, wait until 85% of the population is fighting over rice and grain in 2030. Fun fact, globally, there is approximately 2 months of food storage. If crops are decimated for even one season, it would be absolutely catastrophic. 90% of the legislation actually enacted has nothing to do with protecting the people or making life better. All of it is designed to keep poor people poor and under control. Guns, abortion, sex, drugs, booze. No matter where you are in the world, if you're rich, you can have all of it. World's millionaires are building underground bunkers, so something is coming. That BlackRock has been buying most of the houses in USA under different names in order to own America. Scoffed is in bed with this corporation and are working on "you will own nothing and be happy" collapse of banking industry and blaming it on Russians as soon as they go digital. In the US, people are so obsessed with hoarding their wealth that we will allow children to go hungry, go without health care, and attend schools that are literally falling apart, rather than increase the marginal tax rate on people making over $100,000. $100K is nothing these days. Go after the billionaires. Easiest way to stop being depressed is don't watch the news. Delete those posts keeping you up to date. Yes, you should know, but most of it is shit. Thanks for watching. Share your stories in the comments.